What is the warranty period? At Sharks.
Here, just...
So, the company's main office occupies several distinct departments on a single floor. Each individual department diligently deals with its own specific and unique task. There is an information sign right at the entrance. We can see on it that the plant was built in 2006, and the plant produces auto parts for such models. Guys, hello everyone. Right now I've arrived at a factory that manufactures auto parts, specifically duplicates. For models such as Toyota, Lexus, Honda, Nissan, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Range Rover, Land Rover, Jaguar, Volvo, and so on. The factory, by the way, has been on the market for over 20 years. This is a very good indicator, in the sense that the factory started its operations initially in the domestic Chinese market. In general, those factories that begin their operations in the domestic market and withstand internal competition in terms of cost and price to quality ratio, these manufacturers stand out favorably compared to those factories that start their production activities directly for export. Because in China, competition is extremely tough, and every manufacturer offers the best prices and strives to provide the best quality. That's precisely why I would strongly and wholeheartedly recommend considering this particular factory as a truly reliable and consistently proven supplier. At this very moment, the factory is actively seeking to enter the expansive Russian market. In other words, the factory does not yet have a representative in Russia. Let's go and take a look at the most popular items, so to speak, the ones in highest demand, which are usually consumables like brake pads and suspension components. Mr. Allo, such a young gentleman. Now he's going to show us the price for a front set for a Toyota Land Cruiser, 45 yuan per set. You can check the current exchange rate online and multiply it to see the price. Take a look at how everything is stored here. Everything is neatly organized on shelves in boxes. There's a warehouse manager on every floor. Each specific area is handled by its own manager. A stabilizer link for a Highlander costs 15 yuan. There's absolutely no play at all. So visually the quality looks good. Ramses, tell me, overall you visited a lot of factories. What do you think about this manufacturer? So now that you've arrived, what's your first impression?
I can honestly say this is the largest auto parts warehouse I've ever been to. Even at the big places we visited, there weren't any this huge, even though here it's just for passenger cars. My first impression, it's a massive warehouse. Second impression, everything is very orderly.
If we're talking about suspension parts for Toyota, this factory has pretty much everything. And the arm, we argued about where it goes next. Let's see what he wants to show us now.
So here it is.
A control arm for Lexus.
Here it is, 100 yuan.
130 yuan. Honestly, for 130 yuan, it seems like that's just the cost of the metal alone. So these are the preliminary prices for Lexus. Now let's take a look at the radiators.
Now,
Let's check out the cooling radiator for the Land Cruiser 150. It costs 240 yuan. This kind of radiator, every single box, or rather every individual item, meticulously goes through a certain rigorous Chinese quality standard inspection process. So now we're on the first floor. These are auto parts being shipped for Toyota RAV4. Now we're looking at brake discs. Here, for example, is a brake disc. The Toyota Corolla, its price is approximately 65 Chinese yuan. Heat exchanger for Toyota Avalon, 70 yuan. Factory level quality, that's the price. The company also has heat exchangers for Audi, BMW, and Mercedes. That's why the most essential, top quality spare parts and components are produced by the company. Now we're going to another warehouse. Let's see what they have to offer us there. Here is a large and spacious warehouse, specifically designed for storing spare parts for various unpopular models of vehicles.
Now then,
Let's take a quick walk through and have a look. Let's take a look at the Audi Q5. Here's a handle like this. As I understand, it's for the rear suspension. We won't open the packaging. The price is 120 yuan.
this particular one for the Golf is priced at 60 yuan.
For example, a Golf, which might cost around 70 yuan. The overall cost of various suspension components is typically and usually twice as cheap when sourced directly from suppliers, especially compared to what you would find at some of the more common offline markets, which are places where people generally and typically go to purchase their automotive parts. So for instance, the specific parts that might cost approximately 120 yuan here at this particular location can often be found at those aforementioned markets for, I don't know, perhaps somewhere in the range of 250 to 300 yuan, which is a significant difference. So the price is quite attractive.
Right.
Disc for Range Rover.
100.
Yuan, guys.
Here you go.
It's really heavy. 100 yuan. Brake disc for Range Rover. This is the back one. In the back. Brake disc for Range Rover. These high-quality front brake pads for Porsche vehicles, a complete set of front pads, are available for the very reasonable price of just 70 yuan. The Porsche Cayenne, 70 yuan. Front set of brake pads. In terms of quality, they are the same as on Toyota, that is 60-70,000 is enough. They don't whistle for passage.
Yes. Guys, these vehicles typically last for a considerable duration, often ranging from about 60,000 to 100,000 miles, and sometimes even more, or occasionally less, depending on various factors. In terms of their overall quality and reliability, they are generally considered to be quite comparable to that of a Toyota vehicle. Ignition coil.
This is an ignition coil specifically designed for the Audi A6 model, and its current price is 45 yuan. 45 yuan. Ignition coil. They buy them very actively. Yes, there's a lot of demand for them. Here we have a Mercedes control unit, a crucial electronic component, which is currently available for the remarkably low price of just 100 yuan. This brings up an important question. What kind of comprehensive warranty coverage can one expect to receive on essential automotive components such as suspension parts, which are vital for vehicle stability and handling, or indeed on these complex electronic control units, which manage numerous vehicle functions?
Or can we somehow work it out mathematically, or you can either they'll do a return of the product, refund the money, or they'll just compensate you in some way, or they'll just give you a new spare part. So
2 years, I don't know of any aftermarket manufacturers where you could buy a part in China, and if it breaks, then either get the part replaced or your money back. I just haven't seen that happen yet. A heat exchanger for an Audi A6, 70 yuan with a warranty.
It fits.
On the shelf where they keep parts for BMW. A heat exchanger specifically designed for BMW vehicles typically costs around 70 yuan. Here's a radiator like this, 220 kilometers from Mercedes, 380 yuan. Well, I think the prices for BMW, Mercedes and Audi are about the same, so there's really no point in distracting the manager right now and walking through all the warehouses with us, showing how much everything costs. With that, I'll wrap up my video. I think everything is generally clear regarding the prices, conditions and assortment. It's not possible to walk around and film all the warehouses. The total warehouse area at the factory is 30,000 square meters. Can you imagine? I mean, it's just unreal. So I've made this little overview, and if anyone is interested in this field as a business or in working with China, I recommend considering this manufacturer for cooperation. It's very important to take into account First, that this factory has been on the market for about 20 years, and second, the factory provides a 2-year warranty on its products. Well, I think these are very good conditions even for those who want to start working in this field. So, if you choose to cooperate with this reputable factory and actively sell their high-quality products in the vast markets of Russia or in the various CIS countries, you will have the absolute assurance that the factory will not leave you hanging or unsupported if someone approaches you with a product return or any other significant issue that may arise. This is very important when choosing a partner. The factory has been on the market for about 20 years, and it's very important to understand that those manufacturers who started their business first in the domestic Chinese market and then began exporting are, let's say, the best and most reliable manufacturers in China. Why is that? Because in China there is extremely tough competition when it comes to price to quality ratio. In other words, Chinese companies compete fiercely among themselves and only the strongest survive. If we talk, for example, about companies that start their business directly with exports, there may be some issues with quality, but those companies that began working specifically in the Chinese market offer a completely different level of quality and a different approach to business. The factory is currently considering the possibility of cooperating with Russia, but the factory does not have a representative office in Russia, so there is the question of where and to whom this product can be sold. I think this would be of interest to some car-sharing companies, taxi fleets, and I even think the private sector would find it quite appealing. Considering that, for example, original spare parts for German cars are usually subject to sanctions and expensive. That's why you can order samples, check the quality, see how the components and assemblies perform, and only then make a decision about cooperation. So guys, if anyone doesn't know where to start working with China, I recommend considering this direction. In Benyej, with the net up to 50, in TOSIF parts, this is a consumable. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, gave it a like, and left a comment.